is about working hard, pushing your limits, not giving up, and about working with people. It is also about working around people and their resistance. Any leader will tell you that that probably is the toughest bit. So how do you do it?
There's certainly a patterned response to conflict. Some of these, like we spoke in the conflict resolution grid, some of these are natural, some of these are learnt. So the skill is about how do you learn the skills on resolving conflicts where both of us are better off. Otherwise, if there's one person who's worse off than the other, chances are the conflict will recur. So if you really want to resolve the conflict, the intent needs to be to get both in a better situation. Otherwise, the root of the conflict will continue to remain. So there are skills around it, and let's look at the behavior associated with people who resolve conflict better than the others. Aggressive and submissive behaviors resolve conflict for the short term. They are not long term fixes. People who resolve conflict in the long term practice a behavior called assertiveness. How can I assert? And it's very distinct from aggressiveness. Aggression is getting what I want without a concern for what you want. Assertiveness says, hang on, both of us have you deserve something, I deserve something. Can both of us get what it is? So assertiveness, as like we defined in the last episode, the first the definition, a working definition of assertiveness is getting what you deserve while staying in the relationship, and it assumes it also allows the other person to get what the other person deserves. That's the first mindset that needs to be created to resolve conflicts.
What are the other steps that people can take? Because I know, there's a huge amount of study behind negotiations between, and I know Harvard Business School and the Ivy League colleges, and pretty much all colleges, actually MBA schools teach you, on how to negotiate. What are the various forms of assertiveness? Take us through that.
Right, the Harvard negotiation program, what we spoke about as a Fox behavior. Similar behaviors are called positional bargaining behaviors over there. But let's look at what assertiveness is and a few fundamental attitudinal clarifications on what assertiveness is. And if I may just list a couple of them. Assertiveness is usually built when there's agreements between two people. Sure. You and I had an agreement that payments would come in X amount of time. You and I had an agreement on a turnaround time for a project. When that agreement is not met, assertive people can then refer to that agreement and say, hang on, we had an agreement, how do we resolve it? If there is no agreement, the chances for assertion go down. You don't have a reference point. Non-assertive people, so if you look at sharks and teddies.
Sharks are non-assertive?
Sharks are aggressive.
Oh, so they are the other extreme of assertive.
They are one extreme. So between aggressive and passive, that's the continuum. Assertion is finding a balance. Those two extreme behaviors are emotionally driven. Assertive behaviors are not emotionally driven. Please use emotion where it's required, but assertiveness, the second rule of assertiveness is about being open and rational. And it becomes very important in a conflict because how open and rational can I be to a view that is completely different from mine? And that's when the real test of assertiveness comes in. To resolve minor conflicts is relatively easier when the views are divergent, when the positions and interests of people are so rigid and they are at a complete divergence. That's when this rule about being open and rational at all times really helps. Assertiveness, the third rule of assertiveness is about really recognizing what your self-worth is. Because very often folks try and attack your sense of self-worth to get the better out of you, to put you into fight or flight behavior.
Give an example. How would you explain that?
Very interesting. A lot of work on assertiveness in India has been done by a gentleman called Rishi Kumar Pandya, and he narrates this incident beautifully. When in the 1960s, now you must know this gentleman comes from Gujarat, he's a vegetarian, and in the 1960s he went on scholarship to the US, and an American came to him and asked him, hey Rishi, I don't know why you Indians are like this. You have hungry people, you have people dying of hunger, and you have cows on the road. Why don't you just kill the cows and feed the poor? Now Rishi Kumar Pandya in his lecture says, my sense of self-worth was violated. It was violated because here's a vegetarian and you're saying, I mean the cow has a status in this country, and you're saying kill the cow. Now he says, I did not know how to protect it. So I smiled. And in his really eloquent ways, he says there are only two kinds of people who could have smiled at that time. Either the Buddha who knew everything or a complete idiot. And he says, I knew which side I was on. So assertiveness is about knowing what my self-worth is and knowing how to protect it. How to protect it is a skill, but knowing what my self-worth is, knowing what I deserve. I haven't got a promotion in 3 years, I think I deserve it. Now, we should differentiate between what I deserve and what I want. Assertiveness doesn't deal with what you want. Want can be driven by greed. What I deserve is a sense of what my self-awareness is telling me, what is it that I should deserve.
And when that doesn't happen, knowing when to walk away is also important. But how does one know what they actually deserve? Tarun says very often we tend to be happy with our achievements and do not push for more. On the other side, we tell you how to overcome this to achieve exceptional results.